Welcome back. If you just joined us, we've been keeping an eye on how to make small micro businesses and even the medium scale enterprises thrive in Nigeria and how we can stimulate economic growth and get out of the woods. And our guest on this episode of Question Time is Dr. Umaru Radda. He's the Director General of the Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. Don't go away. Do we have a trade and investments master plan in the country?
Of course we do. There is what we call Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, which is going on with the ministry. Even last month we had meeting at the ministerial level with all the CEOs of the ministry and the directors in the ministry, with the two ministers, and we are trying to make sure that this National Industrial Development Plan sees the light of the day. There is a Council of Trade and Industry meeting at Abeokuta, in which a number of issues were raised and approved at that level.
Let's look at another issue in this economy, and that's the high rate of inflation. And even the foreign exchange pressure against the Naira is not helping matters. And we can see many businesses folding up and some going moribund. So what are you doing to assist? What are you doing to find a solution to this trend?
No, I think we should take this thing to be an advantage to us, in a sense that when you have this high rate on the high rate of foreign exchange, which is very high at the moment, we should take advantage of patronizing Nigerian goods. We should take advantage of producing more Nigerian-made goods. Because most of the country you see in the world, that is how they grow. They cherish what they have, they go for what they have, and they move to get what they have. And then this should be, and we should take this to be an advantage to us by making sure that we have provided an enabling environment for our businesses in Nigeria to produce more for our consumption and even for export. Because when you have a consuming economy, in which all the time what you do, you import, there is no way that economy can provide. Even if I had Mr. President saying sometime that even toothpick, you import it in Nigeria. So that what will our small businesses do if this kind of environment is allowed if this kind of environment is allowed in a country like ours? So we should do as Nigerians, and in fact, the entrepreneurs in Nigeria should take this thing as an advantage by producing made in Nigerian goods, consuming made in Nigerian things, so that for now, to enable us address the economic situation at the moment.
We have reports that you are seeking a financial intervention fund of 37 billion naira to create 6 million jobs. So how far have you gone with this proposal, and what do you intend to do with this fund? How do you intend to go about it?
I have told you earlier at the early part of my interview that we have created a strategy. This strategy, which we call conditional grant scheme. This 37 billion is going into the conditional grant scheme. The aim of the conditional grant scheme is to formalize the largely informal sector, because I have told you earlier that macro businesses are informal. And these people represent about 98% of the total MSMEs that we have in the country. So if we didn't do that as a country to formalize this sector, at least I think we need to do that, because it's only when you formalize them that you grow them. In essence, we are going to reach out to 550 entrepreneurs, macro entrepreneurs in each 774 local government of the country to give them this grant, but on certain conditions. These conditions is aimed to formalize them. It is when you formalize them that they can be able to grow from micro to small to medium, and to even large corporation. That is what we are targeting. And we are targeting each year of this regime to reach out to create 1.5 million jobs. This 1.5 million jobs cut across 774 local government to ensure equitable distribution of resources within the nation, and to ensure that these MSMEs are formalized. Even at the end of the whole process, What we achieve is 50%. At least we have succeeded in formalizing this sector, and some of them will imbibe this culture, and it will even create a situation in which we will encourage foreign partners to come and invest in this initiative, because we are going to make it as accountable and transparent as possible, because we want to register all the businesses, have their registration number, have their locations, have their telephone numbers, and produce a booklet for anybody who wants to confirm whether this grant has reached these people or it has reached the desired result. Then everybody can find. Even if Mr. President wants a booklet, Mr. President can keep it in his office and start to call numbers at random to find out whether this thing has reached them and whether the benefit that is supposed to be derivable from those initiatives, we have really achieved that.
But just to set the record straight, how much have you gotten from this proposed intervention fund?
You know, as an agency, what we do is we write to our minister, and our minister has written to Mr. President for his approval and consent.
Let's come to the issue of boosting local production now. You've emphasized that, in all fairness to you, in the course of our discussion now. And you've also mentioned that skills acquisition and training is very essential to boost local production capacity. So what are you doing in this regard?
You know, as I have mentioned earlier, that entrepreneurship training is more critical than financing a business, because it is only when you know how to manage your business, keep records, have the managerial skills to run your business, that you can be able to achieve most. Most of the businesses in Nigeria died because it's one-person business. If the person died, he died with the business, because there is no organized operations of the bank. There is no proper employment of technical and very competent personnel to man the affairs of the businesses. So this is one of the major challenges. And our agency main responsibility is to provide entrepreneurship training, to provide counseling, monitoring of the businesses, and to evaluate the performance of the MSMEs to reach certain level. But we are constrained. We can do little because of the financial, because of the problem we have in the budgetary allocation to the agency is very low. So that is why the agency is thinking outside the box.
How much precisely is the budgetary allocation of SMEDAN?
Budgetary allocations of SMEDAN last year, I think it was 1.7 billion. But as at today, I'm talking to you, what was released to us is just a little over 100 million.
Before we wind down this conversation now, economic experts have profiled economic diversification, especially into agriculture and the manufacturing sector, as the bailout plan, as the roadmap out of the economic doldrums. So what are you doing to make agricultural investments attractive to the younger ones? Because I believe the younger ones are those in focus now.
We should change our focus and make it a knowledge base. The brand that God gives us is for us to think of ways to survive and ways to provide survival for others. We should be employers of labors. We shouldn't sit and think of, and I think this has to do with maybe our universities, our higher institutions need to think very much, because that is where ideas comes from. That is where innovation comes from. They should think their focus. The curriculum in Nigeria needs to be changed to focus more on improvement on the entrepreneurship on students, rather than teaching people basically for them when they finish, they could not be productive at all.
Alhaji Umaru Radda, DG SMEDAN, thank you so much for making our time to be part of this episode of Question Time. Thank you very much.
Mr. Benge. You're welcome.
As the foreign exchange continues its dwindling fortunes and negative signals still coming from other indices like power and other infrastructure still at a deficit, no doubt the small and medium scale sector is in a desperate state that calls for an emergency from the federal government and all relevant stakeholders. And that's it on this episode of Question Time from Channels Television. Join us next week on another exciting episode. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashiru. Bye for now.